Diana. And now the details of the rescue plan are on the table. The big question now, is it going to work? Are services and investors willing to make the necessary changes to avoid foreclosures, and will it stabilize the housing market? Sticking with us to discuss is Diana Olick, and joining the conversation is William Procida, chairman of William Procida Incorporated, a real estate investment trust. Welcome to the program. And William, let's start out with you. What's your take on the plan? Do you think structurally it's something that is going to work?
Well, I come from the school of a bad plan implemented well is better than a great plan poorly implemented. If we know anything, government and big institutions rarely implement well, and they're like cruise ships, and we need to turn like speedboats. So, you know, that's going to be the biggest challenge. I think two big issues are, one, you know, this whole issue of income. You know, I think that anybody that writes these plans should be required to go sit at the kitchen table of some of these homeowners, as I have throughout the country. Income's one thing, net income's another. And I think that's going to be a big challenge to suss that out. The second thing is this whole issue of value. I just wrote an article about the difference between perceived and intrinsic value. Nobody seems to know what intrinsic value is anymore. And if you line up 5 appraisers, you're going to get a swing of 20 to 30% in value. So the devil's going to be in the details. I don't think this is going to help a lot of folks, and it still doesn't address the single biggest issue is that most of the bad loans are in securitizations, and unless you give the servicers the leeway to restructure these mortgages, I don't think you can solve this problem.
Diana, the Obama administration has talked about the sheer numbers here. They're asking or hoping to help 9 million homeowners. Is that going to be enough as far as numbers go to make a difference on the housing market overall?
Well, it's a start. Look, when they say 9 million homeowners, 4 million is the modification part. 5 million is the part that's allowing folks who have little to no equity in their homes to refinance. They're not currently delinquent on their loans. They would just get a better loan rate and be able to refi, which they couldn't do before because they had to have more equity in their home. So is it going to solve everything? Absolutely not. Is it a start? Yes, because the first thing you do to put a bottom in home prices is stop all the foreclosures, because every foreclosure brings down the value of the homes around them. It will stop some foreclosures. It will not stop all, because as we've seen in the past year, 25% of all foreclosures were investor-owned properties. Investor-owned properties are not a part of this plan at all.
William, what do you think about those investor-owned properties that people aren't living in? They're not owner-occupied. They're not in this plan. How important are they to getting the overall market back on track?
Well, I think the service has got to plow through those homes quicker. You know, the services are overwhelmed. They were never built to handle this stuff. You know, if we had a new disease out there in the country, we'd train a lot of doctors to solve the problem. We need a whole new group of people out there that are trained in restructuring mortgages, and you can only do that on the ground. I think the lesson that you might want to learn on this is look at the 10,000 small local banks. They have a substantially less of their loans in default because they're close to the asset and close to the borrower. So I think you need to plow through those investor homes. And by the way, and I agree with Diana, this is, I believe the administration's heart's in the right place. I'm just not sure that they can implement this on such a large scale. I think they got to get local, and they got to start dealing with local banks to solve this problem.
And speaking of getting local, California just this week approved a tax credit of $10,000 to homeowners there. Diana, is this something that you're hearing is going to be more successful in getting the housing market back together, and also from approaching it from a more local perspective?
Well, it's certainly going to help to do home buyer stimulus. Now, there's a big argument out there that you can either save the people from foreclosure, or you could stimulate new buyers to buy new homes. That is, buy up these foreclosed properties that people can't afford. The answer from the Obama administration, of course, was stop the foreclosures first. A lot of other folks think let the market correct itself by getting buyers in. So an incentive like that in California, and also the incentive that was put forth, the 8%, the $8,000 homebuyer tax credit that was put forth recently for all Americans, is a good thing to get home buyers started. But it's not going to get everybody out there. There's a very high level of, very low level of consumer confidence, and you need to boost that before you're going to get people back into the market and buying. So the Obama administration chooses a foreclosure relief plan, thinking that that's going to get more, you know, steam in the game.
William, before we wrap things up here, give us your William Procida elevator pitch housing plan.
Well, actually, if you go to plan100.org, I've written a plan which I've submitted to the president, which is basically a local plan where you pick local fund managers, let them go in and buy the mortgages from the banks at the right price, let them meet with the borrowers. And this is a case-by-case situation. This is not a one-size-fits-all solution.
All right. Thanks so much, William Procida and Diana Olick. It seems like every day it's another company cutting its dividend, but there are names